Hello, I'm Mrs. Charity. Welcome to the Glorious Heritage Overview of Catholic Church History. Discover the amazing story of the Church together as a family as you color and paste your way through the timeline and printables, which you can find on our website. And now, let's move into our topic for today.
Hello, I'm Mr. Charity, and welcome to the Glorious Heritage Catholic History video series. Today's topic is number 79, the Papal Schism. If you look on your timeline and summary question sheets, you'll notice that we are in the yellow time period, which we have called Kingdom. If you don't have a timeline or summary question sheets, you can find them on our website. And don't forget to color and cut out your circle to paste to your timeline today about the Papal Schism. If you are a child and if you have siblings, you probably have had disagreements with them before. I know it's rare, because I'm sure you're usually always getting along with your brothers and sisters, taking turns and sharing. But in those rare moments when you do have a disagreement, your parents are the ones who can solve the problem. Your mom and your dad can step in and settle the fight. If one of the children is guilty, your parents will correct them. They can divide up the toys or candy so it's fair. Your parents are the final authority in your house, and they keep law and order among the children. Because you're a good Catholic family, your home is most likely a place of peace and harmony. However, there are some poor families out there in the world whose home is not peaceful. In fact, there are some families who need a lot of prayers, in which the mom and dad don't agree and they even argue in front of the children. If the mom and dad are the rulers of your house and they solve any problems that you might have with your siblings, then what happens when the mom and dad don't agree? Who do you listen to? Well, that is what happened in the church during a time called the Papal Schism. You see, the Pope is the father of Catholics. He is the head of the Catholic Church like your dad is the head of your family. The Pope has so much responsibility. He protects Catholics from heresies, he makes decisions to spread the faith, he approves of new bishops, and also, one of his responsibilities is to settle disputes among Catholics, particularly among Catholic kings and princes. If two kings were fighting, the Pope could step in and settle the argument, just like your parents do when there's disagreements among the children. Well, the Papal Schism was a time in which two men claimed to be the Pope at the same time. All of Christendom could not agree about who the real Pope was, and it caused so much confusion. One of the men was the real Pope, but the other one was a false Pope. The Papal Schism lasted from 1378 all the way until 1417. Now, let me tell you how it started. At the time when the popes lived in Avignon, France, and we didn't talk about this yet, but we will talk about it in a future video, St. Catherine of Siena pleaded for the Pope to move back to Rome where he belonged. Well, the Pope eventually agreed, but the French cardinals wanted to have the Pope back in France again. So when it came time to elect a new Pope, they went back on their decision, especially when the new Pope chose to stay in Rome. So the French cardinals went back to France and elected another Pope, one who would agree to live in France like the other ones did before. Are you confused yet? Well, if you are, then you know how Catholics felt during this time. So starting in 1378, there was a fake Pope living in France and a real Pope living in Rome. Both of them fought with each other, and both of them warned Catholics not to listen to the other one. So what was a good Catholic supposed to do? At the time, they did not know who the real one was or the false one. In fact, it was so confusing that even the saints alive at that time didn't know who the real one was. St. Vincent Ferrer thought that one was the real Pope, and St. Catherine of Siena thought the other one was the real Pope. Then, to make it even more confusing, a third person claimed to be the Pope. In the city of Pisa, Italy, there was another election, and then a third Pope emerged to argue with the other two. Well, at this point, Catholics of Christendom had had enough. They asked all three of them, the true one and the false ones, if they could all come together and agree that there would be one more election. Whoever won the election would be called the true pope, and the other ones would agree to step down and resign. Well, the Council of Constance was called, and the election was made. Finally, the confusing Papal Schism was over. Pope Martin V was elected. He was the true pope, and he decided to keep the papacy in Rome where it belonged. The French cardinals did not dare to make any trouble again. Okay, here's Mrs. Charity to explain some of the bad effects about the Papal Schism.
Hello, I'm Mrs. Charity. During the Papal Schism, all of Christendom watched as two men, both claiming to be the true pope, fought each other. They didn't know which was the real pope, so they just picked the one they liked the most. When there was a dispute in the past, the pope would resolve the problem. But during the Papal Schism, the pope was part of the problem and no one could settle the argument. Sadly, this caused many people in Christendom to have a lower opinion of the papacy.
Welcome back. Let me tell you a story from the point of view of someone who was at the Council of Constance. Remember, it was the Council of Constance that ended the Papal Schism. It called for a new election. The three men who claimed to be the true pope, they stepped down, and Pope Martin V emerged as the one true pope. Beneath the vaulted ceilings of Constance, I stood a mere witness to history's tides. The year was 1414, and the heart of the church beat with uncertainty. 3 pontiffs claimed Peter's seat, and Christendom's fabric was torn. In quiet corners, we, the devout sons and daughters of the church, whispered fervent prayers. Our souls clung to hope like ivy clings to the ancient stones. The council's assembly was a mosaic of faces, each etched with the burden of this choice. Days turned to weeks, and debates raged on like storms, yet our purpose remained steadfast, to return the papal crown to its solitary grace. The air hummed with the weight of decisions, and the echo of sacred chants, and the rustle of the robes of cardinals and bishops. Finally, the conclave was called. In that deep and long silence, a new pontiff emerged, Pope Martin V. A collective sigh of relief, like a wind through the autumn leaves, swept through the crowd. Unity was restored, and the reverence for the Holy See blossomed anew. As I left Constance, the winter's chill held a promise of springtime. The schism had ended, and with it a new chapter for the church began, one of healing and renewed love for the papacy in Rome. Well, that's all for today. Come back next time and we'll talk about the 100 Years' War. I hope you enjoyed and learned something new today. Visit our website, www.gloriousheritagecartoons.com, where you can find more educational supplements, cartoons, books, and printables. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram to get notified of our latest updates and videos. And if you like our work and want to support us, you can make a donation on our website or on Patreon. We really appreciate your generosity and kindness. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel, and see you next time.